All right, let's get started, guys. So in the first position, we have the Chariot. So this says basically that you can go ahead and move forward here with the potential that he or she is the one. However, this has come after great difficulty. After, so it's like the battle, and here is the victory after kind of going through this internal struggle of, um, self-love, like that's what you have to go through in order to realize that, he or she is the one in order to claim that victory, of the relationship. But Chariot says that you can have that success. You can become, the hero. This can be your new beginning here in this relationship, and have what it is that you want here. In the other person, okay? But again, you have to kind of understand and go through that self-love, figure out that internal dialogue. I see why you're having this connection with the other person, okay? Now here we have, as far as the long-term relationship or marriage potential, again, it's a little bit of a rocky yes or no. And that's because you have Eight of Swords, and that's all this stuff that's kind of going on in your head, because swords represents thoughts. But when this card comes up to me down here, you kind of see a little bit of water coming through, but it's all kind of like mucky. And she has, her eyes blindfolded. And to me, it always comes out to say that there are emotional undercurrents, kind of those negative things in which are creating these negative thoughts in your head, and you kind of don't want to deal with them. You don't want to see them, but they have to be dealt with in order for you to be able to move forward, so that hopefully you don't move forward to like the Nine of Swords, where there is an overwhelming feeling of shame, guilt, and you can't sleep at night. Hopefully back to where we can be at the Six of Swords, where our thoughts allow us to move away from those emotions that cause us instability here. Okay. Now you did have another card that came out with it that, that also gives me kind of a little glimmer of hope, is that the Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords means that you can fearlessly move forward, and he usually moves forward at a fast pace because he goes into the battle. He goes into whatever it is he, is passionate about, because he believes so strongly in it that he can kind of overcome. So he's kind of like the Chariot in the way, and that it's saying that you can move forward and that there can be this possibility of long-term potential or marriage potential, however you want to see it. But you have to fearlessly decide that you're going to take on those emotional issues that, are living beneath the surface of the relationship or beneath the surface of yourself, that are causing these negative thoughts that could exist in you or within the other party. And so now we want to talk about the relationship. What is hindering the relationship? And it makes perfect sense to me that the Hermit comes out. In this position, the Hermit is saying, like, he's trying to study, he's trying to understand, but at the same time, he's off by himself. He's not connecting with another person in order to understand the relationship. Now, this is on top, and this is below the Chariot, right? And so, with it being kind of below the Chariot, again, we're talking about that inner stuff that's going on, that the Chariot does bring up, like self-love and whatnot. But I mean, you can go through that level of purification and self-love, by yourself. But if we're talking about a relationship, if we're talking about the connection, being in hermit mode means that you've kind of cut them off. Even in your struggle to kind of figure out your emotional thoughts, or for them to figure out their emotional thoughts, this is difficult. And again, like I said, with Scorpios, we're feeling a lot of intense emotions going on here. So that's what's hindering the relationship, where there's some part of the relationship or that's in hermit mode. So not discussing, off trying to understand the relationship, or trying to understand their own feelings and work through it there instead of doing it together. Okay. Um, and then you have what is helping the relationship. So what's helping the relationship? First card that comes out is Ace of Pentacles. Aces always come out as potentials that's being offered by the divine. So you have the potential to grab this pentacle, to have a fresh new start. We have the past difficulties fade between the two of you, or in this connection, or within yourself, in order to have this fresh new beginning where you can have a stable relationship, where you have your heart open and you can enjoy the innocence of this love. So again, I think it's beautiful that it's underneath the Eight of Swords, because that says that that's what's below. That's what you get when you deal with those negative emotions. When you get rid of those negative thoughts. You take the blindfold off and you fearlessly deal with all those emotions that are beneath the surface. But you not just deal with it off by yourself. You go and you deal with it with the other person. And that comes out with the Three of Cups. So here we have the balanced emotions, but threes always comes out to me to talk about teamwork. So see, back over here, Hermit, you're by yourself, going through those emotions, figuring it out, going through that struggle. But here with the three, you're over here, you're working with the other person, they're working with you, and the divine is also here within the relationship, helping the two of you kind of find the stability that can exist here in the relationship or here in the connection. Okay. But you've got to take it, again, with aces, you have to be willing to take that potential, and then come out on the other side where you have the emotional abundance and you're celebrating, good times together, and building upon and enjoying that teamwork. Okay. So we deal with what you have to work on, what you have to work on in the relationship. First card that comes out is Five of Wands. So again, a lot of changes happening, a lot of inner struggle happening. So Five of Wands to come out to say that, again, we're talking about the inner struggle where there's one emotion that knocks everything off balance. And so there's this inner struggle going on within you. I'm sorry. Or it could be that there's kind of like this challenge going on externally here that's causing this inner struggle to happen within you. And so it could be that there's a battle to get the person that you are interested in, or there's a battle, or there's a jealousy within this connection. But again, this does say that victory can come to you, but it's kind of, again, after war, after, kind of a hard fought battle. You receive victory. You can get to that Six of Wands, which again talks about balance, and it talks about, you see the guy, he's riding on the horse and he's coming back from battle because he's won, and now he has a victory assured. He's winning the person or the relationship of their dreams, but you've got to go through the battle, whether it be internal solely or some external factor that's coming in here to cause you to have internal struggle. Okay. Now there's another card that came out with that, which really does, like I said, give me some hope here within the relationship is that Four of Wands. That Four of Wands is a beautiful card to come out with Five of Wands. Normally you would say that, with a number kind of decreasing, that might be going backwards. But to me, that says that you are able to dispel that emotion that's causing you to be off balance. You can, again, victory. within, yourself and hopefully within the relationship. And so the two of you are able to have that stable foundation that we talked about over here with the Ace of Pentacles. And you can build, and then you can celebrate something again that's long lasting, where we have the emotional abundance, and we're actually working together as a team and not working separately. Okay, within the relationship. Now, this is what they need to work on here in the relationship. King of Swords. King of Swords always comes out to, he's too much in his logic, right? In this position. He's too much in his logic. He doesn't know how to communicate very well. He's being incredibly blunt. And so, again, that could be part of the reason why you're going through that 5 of songs, because you're like, really? Why are you talking to me like this? Like, I deserve to be communicated within, a certain way with more respect than this. And so you kind of go off and say, you know what? I need to think about things. I need to think about what's going on here in this relationship. Is this worth kind of having? Because they're not communicating here properly, and they are so far possibly in their logic zone that there is no connection here with their emotions, right? Or they're on, and I can't even talk, right? Are unable to express their emotions, their true emotions correctly. They have them and they are very strong and there is a depth to them, but they can't express them to you. And when they try, it is coming off, they're flashing like incorrectly, just all wrong. And so that's why there is kind of so much struggle. There is so much kind of pull. I mean, I'm getting so much of that energy right now that that's probably the reason why I came talk. Because again, I feel like I'm fighting but beneath the surface. And wanting somebody to understand me, but not knowing how to express it. And at the other time, on the other side, having all this inner turmoil that's going on is saying, I don't know what I'm feeling, but I know that I am feeling disrespected. I'm not feeling, at all right, but I'm going to move forward. I am going to see this relationship through to the end because you genuinely care about this other person. You two have been through a lot, or this connection has taken you through quite a bit. So you want to see things come out into fruition. Okay, you want to see things stabilize, and it tells me here that they can. And so we have here as a final outcome, Page of Cups. Um, he's very sensitive, he's very shy, and he timidly kind of gives this cup of love. And it makes sense because, like I said, there's a lot of intensity going on. There's a lot of intense feelings that exist here within this relationship, within this connection between the two of you, that it doesn't all surprise me that what we have in the final outcome is a Page of Cups, somebody who's going to come in and kind of give their message of love very timidly, very shy, because they're not sure of how to deal with the two sides here. Is what I'm getting. And so you see in the background, you see the emotions stuff. It hasn't really quieted down with the water, but he's still able to kind of come forward and give you this message of love and say, the love exists here. This is basically a spark. The flame hasn't died or anything else like that between the two of you. So you can move forward and have this victory. But there is much, much work to do here, internally and externally. Okay. Um, so I have some Doreen Virtue Romance cards for you. So the first card that just popped out was, it is safe for you to love. And after all of these cards, man, this card is beautiful to come out. Open your heart and get to give and receive the highest energy of all. Okay. Um, I want to actually read the passage in the book for that, but I want to get to the other cards first. So the next card that came out was trust. The situation is calling for you to have faith. Gosh, like I said, I love these tarot cards. Love. I mean, the universe just knows, picks up, and understands exactly what it is that you need to hear. There's a lack of trust that's going on here. It could be trust that is within you. It could be trust here in the relationship. So see how I said back over here, you're in hermit mode, and being in hermit mode and not communicating with the other person is difficult. You can't communicate with the other person your feelings and emotions if you're in hermit mode. So it causes mistrust for them to you to them, and you know that's why you have all this battling and needing to kind of overcome there. Okay. Oh my gosh, don't fall. And then finally have here attraction. You attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully. So again, to me, she always comes up to say trust. She enjoys the flowers. She has her heart wide open. And she believes in her partner. She believes, in that she's going to attract the healthy love, to her. By just, taking in the moment and living in the moment fully and honoring her feelings, whatever they may be. Okay. But like I said, I was going to read that it is safe for you to love, thing. Because as soon as it popped out, they were like, you're going to have to read it. I'm like, oh, okay. um, This card indicates that you're protecting your heart from hurt because of painful relationship experiences. However, the angels can only bring as much romance as you allow inside. If you have a shield around your heart, how is love to get in? A closed heart repels the sensitive partner you are trying to attract. Follow your inner guidance will protect you and simultaneously allow you to feel loved and loving. Trust your intuitive senses with respect to other people's trustworthiness and open your heart to those who are kind and gentle. Ask the angels to bring caring individuals, including a romantic partner, into your life, and they'll do so, provided that you listen to and follow their guidance. So see all this fighting between the two of you, not communicating badly, or you protecting your heart and going through this struggle. So it makes perfect sense how all these other cards kind of come out to play. But what I want to continuously emphasize is that there is very strong potential here to build something stable, if you work with the other person. And not just shut them out from how you're feeling. Because as you shut them out, they feel the same way. And so their communication styles turn to the King of Swords. And so they're just blunt. Like, why can't you just tell me the truth of how you're feeling? I know you feel this way. I can see it. King of Swords generally can sometimes denote like a air sign. So we're talking Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, and we generally have the ability to kind of sniff out the truth, even if you don't tell us. It's their Scorpio. And I know that kind of situation can definitely cause trepidation when we're talking about a Scorpio, or an air sign relationship. Those are the most difficult ones. The most difficult ones to kind of deal with. Especially if they're an air sign. Okay. So I also pulled some cards for the universe's Your Back Oracle cards. Okay. So first card that came out, the moment I realign with love, clear direction is presented to me. So this is getting rid of that Five of Swords, realigning, and you have Four of Swords. I mean, Five of Swords. Getting rid of the Five of Wands, you have Four of Wands, and you have stability. Okay, this is building teamwork between the two of you to have that emotional abundance, that emotional stability, and you can start fresh, start anew. Next, I choose love, no matter what. Love means we are living, choosing love means we're not living with fear. You're making all your choices based upon being open, being vulnerable, and willing to communicate. Fear constricts you. You're not going to do any of those things when we choose to make choices out of fear. Okay? And then finally, the universe works fast when I'm having fun. So you see everything kind of change. And that's when the Page of Cups is able to kind of come up to offer you and let you know that the spark exists still between the two of you. Okay?